So this week's topic, building brand awareness and consideration, week 2 of the Marketing Goals series. And this is what we're going to talk about. We're going to revisit that marketing funnel from last week. And then we're going to talk about awareness goals, the why, when, and how. And then move into the consideration goals, that next part of the funnel, the why, when, and how. And then we're going to revisit our demo company, Garden Grows, and to showcase some examples of all of that. And then we're going to show you a free template because tracking performance is important. There's so many different ways to do it, but there is a free spreadsheet that's out there if you are interested. It's there. And then I also have next steps, which is key for what do we do with all this information, and then some resources that you will have access to as well. So let's get started. Remember, marketing goals, it's our where we're going to head, right? Like, what do we want to achieve as a marketing team in the marketing in our business? And we always want to make sure they're strategic. And we hear that word a lot, what is strategic this, strategic that? But basically, it's goals with intention, that they are going to support our business goals and going to help us get there. And what we usually use is that acronym SMART. So they're specific, they're measurable, they're achievable, relevant, and time-bound. And that way we know that they are measurable and we can become accountable to them. And the strategic part is always making sure they're aligned with our business goals. And here's the QR code for a quick reference if you haven't had a chance to watch last week's. It is on our YouTube channel. You can find it there or else use the QR code to find it quickly. And here is the infamous marketing funnel. It starts with general brand awareness, right? We have to let people know that we even exist and who we are. Then it moves to the consideration stage where, oh, right, I found you guys are what I need. Are you credible? Do you have the authority to be able to do this? Are you going to deliver what I need? And that's that consideration stage. So they found you, now they're considering you, and they haven't quite decided to purchase yet. And those two key pieces, we spend a lot of time up there, and that's thus the funnel, right? That large piece, that brand awareness is really important, and it starts the whole journey, and it's large, and we're constantly looking for awareness. But then we get a few people, right? Because some people will find us and you're not the right people, and that's okay. They're going to move aside. We're going to qualify those leads by putting them through the various tactics of consideration. And then they're going to go, and then there'll be even more. And maybe when they're finally ready to buy, then we move into the decision and then the loyalty. That will be next session. For right now, we're going to focus on that awareness and consideration. So let's talk about how to build awareness. So when do we even focus on this? Like, when do we consider awareness goals? Basically, it's when you're launching a new product or you're entering a new market or you're expanding your audience, right? So new market, launching new products, launching into a new market. I actually put that twice. That's interesting. Either it's you're new to the market, I think is what is that supposed to be. So you're new to the market, you've just started your business, you're launching new products and services as an expansion potentially. You're entering a new market, maybe you're moving across the country. Maybe you're going out west and you're in Ontario, or you're going to a whole new country. That's a whole new market as well. Or the products are pushing you into a new market. And then you're expanding your audience. That might be another option. So if you are, to speak to what we were talking about earlier, maybe you're just focusing on residential and you are in the construction industry, then you want to go into commercial. So that could be a whole new product line. It could be a whole new market, and most certainly a different target audience. So that is when we're going to spend a lot of time in the awareness stage. So why do we do this? It's vital, right? Like, we can't get we have to get eyeballs. That's the first and foremost important thing. So what we need to do is the goals are going to focus on increasing that customer base, differentiating ourselves from the competitors. So it's awareness to maybe it's a whole we're in the digital marketing space. So for marketing people, there's a lot of marketing people, but what's going to differentiate us? So while we're getting eyeballs, they want to see what the eyeballs are and who we are. So we're differentiating ourselves from competitors. And the other time is if brand recognition is low or needs improvement. And that could be maybe a PR crisis, or else you've just been running under the radar and you haven't been doing much. Maybe your business has been basically on referrals and you've been doing that. It's like, oh, that's kind of not working anymore. We actually have to expand our customer base, increase our brand recognition, and that is a piece as well. So those are the why we would do it in the first place. And some guiding questions. We have to know our target audience. We have to know what makes us unique. We have to know which channels we're going to use. We are going to touch base on that in a future session on channel strategies. What message do we want to convey? That's part of the brand story, the brand strategy. If you haven't visited that, we have sessions on that too. So what message do we want to convey? How are you going to measure success? What is your budget, time, skills, time, skills, and resources as far as money too, right? What content will engage your audience? What inspires them? That's really understanding. Again, it's not just who the target audience is what, and get right into their headspace and their motivators. How do we plan to sustain interest? What are competitors doing? Right? Definitely don't spend too much time on competition, but we definitely need to be aware of what they're already doing. And are they doing it well? Are there some gaps? And then how can we encourage that word of mouth and shares as well, right? Referral programs, influencers, testimonials, things like that. How do we encourage that? So that's awareness. Generally speaking, now we're going to move from, okay, they're aware of us. Now we have to increase that interest so that they will consider us. That's that next part of the funnel. And when do we focus on consideration? Well, when you have worked on the awareness piece, right? They have to be aware of you for them to then move into consideration. And so that's when you have that steady flow of traffic, but maybe they're not quite converting. They're getting stuck. And we see that a lot in that section of the funnel. They come, they have eyeballs. It's like, oh, but we're dropping them off. How come they're not converting? You can also, when do you focus on consideration goals, is after launching your new products and services. So it can be very quickly moving from awareness to consideration because it's a new product. You want things to move quickly. You're entering a very competitive market. When customer decision cycles are long, you see that a lot in the B2B space, right? Where there's decision makers, you'll get a lot of that sort of lead magnet ideas. It's like, okay, so now they have to consider that as part of a larger budget. Maybe there's a lot of approvals. When things like that happen, the tactics within that consideration stage have to be really thought through and broken down into that. It's a very large consideration, but there's actually steps within that consideration part of the funnel. And then to improve lead quality, right? So you're getting all these leads coming in, but if they're not the right leads, they're not going to convert. And sometimes that awareness piece can be very costly if we're not very focused and we have to go back to how are we actually getting them in the first place. So those are some of the goals, and when we do it, for the consideration. And why do we do that? It's because our potential customers need some education. We need to build trust and credibility. We need to nurture those leads. That's where we break them down. It's like give them the right information at the right time. Don't give them too much. And we see that a lot in landing pages, right? Like we'll do an ad and it comes right to the landing page and they go, oh, buy. It's like, well, you haven't given me enough information yet. So you have to slowly give them the right information at the right time, and even down to specifics on the landing page, right? Top of the fold. Are you going to move them all the way down? So that's nurturing the lead. Differentiate your offerings. Why? For sure, differentiate between your own offerings and what's out there. optimize for better conversion rates. As we mentioned, it's nurturing the leads, but then you want to convert them as fast as possible to improve that. So that would be one of the goals. Why do you focus on it? Well, to increase customer engagement, right? Like no matter what they need, if they're engaged and they're interested, they're going to move forward. And then feedback loop for product development. So for sure, consideration goals, getting feedback from the sales team, getting feedback from your information. Is the product right in the first place? Like if you are the marketing team and your product is substandard and customers are coming back, you might want to start actually giving it information back to the product team. If you're a small retailer, perhaps you choose a competitor. But if it's getting stuck, they're not selling through and they're not converting, maybe we do want to consider it actually from a foundational product standpoint. And all of those marketing can support, and they are things to consider when you're creating goals in that part of the funnel. So again, most of the guiding questions are similar. Who's the target audience? Are there specific segments in your audience, right? So you're moving them from broad to narrow. What are the main concerns or questions these people have? This is where frequently asked questions are so important. If you have a sales team or you're from your sales channels and people are asking the same questions, that means other people probably have those questions too. So you can actually use that and turn that into marketing material, which is really powerful. Identify common hesitations or barriers. What's their motivator? Why aren't they purchasing? How can we best showcase the value and benefits, right? We're not always selling features. Typically, it's benefits and values we want to sell. Consider what formats. If people are doing video and they want video, we should probably give them video. So think about that as far as the type of content you're going to create. And how can we nurture these leads more effectively? We have to consider that customer journey. What are all those touch points? I have a resource at the end for customer journey mapping that will be helpful in these guiding questions. What are our goals for lead conversion at this stage? We have to think about how we're going to measure success and during this and through all the different parts of it as well, right? And then we have to, of course, just like every other phase, we have to define those KPIs, those key performance indicators. What are those success metrics? And what feedback mechanisms to continue the learning from the audience, and internal and external, and considering how we can gather insights from our audience. Is this the point where we start doing focus groups? Do we send out a survey? Do we ask more questions when they're coming through the consideration? If they're doing a download as a tactic, a lead generation download, is there something else we can ask when they do it? Like, is it a position? Is it how did they find us? Like, there's so many different things that we can consider here too. And know that these are only guiding questions for both the awareness and consideration as we start to consider, to use that word again, what goals that we need to create for this part of the funnel. So, and as always, we need examples to help us understand all of this, or it does help, right? So let's go into our demo company, Garden Grows. So we continue the journey for them. And anyone who's new to this, Garden Grows is it's a garden center, and they've just introduced a landscape design services division. And our whole focus is around how do we launch this new division as part of this business. And part of the marketing mix, I just want to revisit this. This is shown in one of our marketing campaign videos as part of it. And we need to also, for ourselves, consider what we're already doing, right? Like, what channels are we using? Like, there potentially might be other channels, but let's step back. We have our website, it's the hub of everything. We have blogs. These guys do directories, email marketing, influencers. They do some paid media, and they do events and video. So it's like, okay, so this is currently what Garden Grows has. And we're going to leverage these channels when we start to think about goals and tactics. So let's figure out some awareness goals for Garden Grows. Building awareness, number one, that's what we want to do. Business, and that's a business goal, right? Like, it says marketing goal, but business basically needs to sell things. So how are we going to do it? We need to build awareness. So website, social media, and email marketing are just 3 tactics that we're going to talk about. But you'll probably do more, but let's, for this sake, we're just going to talk about those key ones. And what's interesting is, let's look at these. We're going to increase monthly website traffic by 20% within 6 months. So it's very specific. Now, there's sections on this that are colored, and that speaks to tactics. And I just want to revisit the fact that you don't have to put your tactics in here in this part of your goal setting, because tactics usually come later, but it just gives you an idea on what you're going to do. You may decide that when you're doing goals, you want to bring in these tactics right here, and that's okay too, because it does help it to become more specific. So just, it does separate it by doing the colors, and that's why it looks like this. So we want to increase monthly website traffic by 20% within 6 months. So it's time bound. It's measurable, it's specific to this platform, right? Is this achievable? Maybe if they're just getting started, they're not sure, but they've looked into some benchmarks in the industry and they think, yes, it is. So it's specific, measurable, achievable, and is it relevant? Yes, it's going to build awareness for what we're doing, and it's time bound. So check on a website. That is one of the goals, and it's just bringing in eyeballs, right? Social media, we're going to grow our followers. This is a typical goal for social media in the awareness stage, 15%, 4 months, and we're going to do a bunch of things. Email marketing, we're going to increase subscribers by X amount, 10%, by 3 months. So now we have 3 key tactics here, 3 key channels, 3 key goals that are smart, and that's going to help us build awareness. But we also want to start generating leads, right? That's that interest. That's sort of kind of moving us now into the consideration phase. And so once we get eyeballs in here, it's still in the awareness stage. We're going to talk about a little bit more of the consideration later, but they're going to come here, and we really want them to land on our lead generating pages, right? So that's part of the moving them through the funnel. And we want to get 100 new leads a month. Okay, well, that's pretty specific. You could be more specific, and I think that's why we're talking about this. Capture 100 new leads a month by adding a contact form on all service pages and a free consultation pop-up form. I would definitely put that in for doing this. It's very specific. Social media, generate leads, 30 leads a month from social media by doing X amount of things. Email marketing, we want to achieve 5% conversion rate from email marketing. So it's moving people through the awareness stage, right? So they're coming, they're subscribing, but now we want to start converting by sending. Now they're not purchasing. There's other things that we're going to do as far as an engagement in the consideration stage, but basically that's what we want to do for email. So those are 2 key goals. And here are some key tactics. So you have goals. We talked about some of the tactics, but let's get down into specifics, because you need to think about what you want to do to achieve those goals. We have to lay them out in our marketing plan, right? Google My Business, Google Business Profile, whatever it's called these days. So basically, we're going to leverage this. Remember, it's a local business. Local search is really, really important. So Google Business Profile, that's where they're going to get reviews and things like that. So we definitely want to optimize and update that regularly. A referral program, very much a garden center. We also know that people talk to people, right? And they trust people with that. So maybe they're going to implement a referral program that they're going to be able to track, right? How many clients. The success metric is to generate 10 new clients from referrals within the first 3 months. So we're going to have to actually put some things in place. We're going to have to create a program. We're going to have to promote the program, and we're going to have to track success. Local partnerships. Local nurseries, well, they are the local nurseries, so they're going to have to partner with it. And this is important as we expand. We need to think of ourselves as a whole new business unit. So, and then you can start to evaluate yourself. So do be careful when you start to expand, is how you build out your business plan regarding that. So local nurseries, they're going to talk to their own nursery. We're going to do probably landscape design, like other landscape contractors, community events, different cross promotional stuff. Really important for community-based business, right? Content marketing for sure. We're going to push out a bunch of blogs, and how much traffic are they going to get? SEO, optimize for keyword search on our website, make sure our website is optimized. Social media engagement, we're going to start to do live questions, Instagram, we're moving, and that's how we're going to get more followers, right? Things are happening. Oh, it's interesting. I'm going to follow it. You got to build it. So if you get eyeballs to your social media, they got to have a reason to stay. So make sure it's branded properly, you're posting regularly, and there's some engagement posts that are interested to your specific audience. Really important. And so here, and I'm not going to run through all of them, you guys will have the resources afterwards, but here's some key metrics that you can consider for the tactics we just talked about. So building for consideration, right? So all of a sudden now we got eyeballs and they're interested. And now we're going to go, okay, you're going to consider if you guys are right for us. So we're going to build trust and authority. Website testimonials, we know they work really well, as well as case studies. So for them, case study, landscape designer, what are the gardens that they've designed? What was the challenge? What was the before? What was the after? Really important for building trust when they land on your website. Social media, we're going to do educational content to position themselves as an industry expert. Email marketing, we know we've started to send out newsletters because in the awareness stage, we're going to get subscribers. Now we're going to send them out with all this really cool tips, and we're going to start them being interested and moving them over to conversion. And then we get to another goal is to enhance the engagement and interest. So we've built trust and authority. Now we're moving to, oh, I'm engaged, I'm interested. I'm going to stick around and potentially buy from you. So we want them to hang out on their website, and you can start measuring this. Google Analytics, Squarespace has some good analytics as well. So just keep an eye on those analytics and what pages they're hanging out on, how long are they staying, where are they moving within the website. Social media, likes, comments, engagement rate, that's going to be a success metric. Are they interacting with polls? Are they actually commenting? What kind of commenting are you going to be doing, or your clients going to be doing? Email marketing, we want them to not only open, we want them to click through. And when you use a third party, we use MailChimp, there's Constant Contact, there's a whole bunch of other ones out there. They have very robust reporting. So you can see who's clicked, how often, what's the open rate. Start tracking that. It's really important. And this is where, and I'm going to pause to talk about tracking success. You know, truth is in the trends, proof is in the patterns, and the fact that you need to start tracking now and watch the patterns, because you don't want these one-offs, because there can be various reasons. You want to see progress, see where the gaps are. So please do start tracking if you haven't done it already. And here are those key tactics. I will leave you with the details for afterwards, but content marketing is huge in this part of the world of our funnel. Webinars and workshops, right? It's helping build trust and authority, how to get in front of people, giving people free content, moving them through the funnel to be able to, maybe you as a consultant, they want to hire you. Retargeting ads, if they've landed on a social media post, can you retarget them? Are they followers already? Have they engaged with one of your ads and they haven't clicked through? You can retarget them as well. Reviews and testimonials, we know that's really important for building trust. And then comparison content is interesting. So producing content that clearly compares your services with potentially a generic option, right? You don't want to necessarily call out your competitors, but if you set yourself apart, you want to let them know how you've set yourself apart from your competitors, and really, really talk about that unique selling proposition. And that will help them decide. And that's where they are, right? They're in that consideration stage. And here's some of those key metrics based on that sample of tactics. It's just a quick list, and you will probably want to do these quick lists when you do your marketing plan. And we do have a resource link at the end for the marketing plan. So track them, put them down, put that as your evaluation methods and metrics. Key tactics are there. You're going to have your timeline as part of your marketing plan, and then it's going to roll up to your marketing goals, which roll up to your business goals. And that's basically that consideration, the awareness to consideration funnel part of your marketing plan. So setting your goals. And this is the editorial calendar that I mentioned. QR code is there. I'll also have a link at the end. And I have been using something simple like this for years. There's so many other ways to do it too, but it's a free download. And all it does is allows you on the left-hand side to put whatever tactic, whatever channel you're working on, find those key metrics, and then for each month, just track them. And then at the very bottom, which is really important, is put some highlights, put some notes and some insights around it. Like maybe it was weather related, or maybe another event was happening, or maybe there was a sickness in your team. Like there was something that could have contributed to the positive or the negative insights or metrics that you had. So there's some sample metrics there, but please do customize it for whatever channels you have and the tactics that you're doing. And important next steps. What do we do with all this information? These next steps are going to be for your whole marketing funnel, but for today, we need to go back and review your current marketing plan, right? Your marketing, evaluate your performance metrics and insights. What's going on? Like this is the time to step back and revisit that. And if you haven't started, as I mentioned, tracking, please do start tracking and put a process and methods in place. Then go back and review your target audience personas and the customer journey. Where's the gaps? Where do we, who are they? What's their motivators? Have they changed since you've revisited last time? And then how are they going? What are those touch points? Where are they going through that journey? And do a bit of an internal workshop, find someone to be accountable to, or whether you hire someone, that is a really important piece to revisit this. Then update or create your goals. And then go step back again and audit what you've already been doing. What key tactics and materials do you have? I put input, output, and outcome. Those are kind of terms we use, but basically it's like how many of these things are we creating? Is the quality there? Are they branded properly? How many of you actually published? How many of you put out there? And then what were the results from your efforts? So that is the audit your tactics and materials. Number 7, create that execution plan. So you've got your goals, you've got everything in place, you've revisited. Now we got to get started. We have to create a timeline and tactics, what we're going to do. So then don't forget allocating resources. Revisit how much time you have. And maybe you need to hire someone to support you, or you need to let go of something and prioritize something differently. And don't forget your budget. And then set up Asana. Like Asana is what we use. It's a time tracking project management program, but there's so many of them out there. Whatever you do, just take your plan, take your tactics, take your goals, put it into a system so you can actually start to execute on that plan, whatever that is, and start to bring in the team. So please do think of something. Don't using emails as a task management system is sometimes a challenge and falls through. So do think of an external thing, even if it's a spreadsheet and meetings. But ideally, something like Asana works well. And then put that plan into action. Get started, right? And set up those key milestones and review. So those are 10 steps to consider for your next steps once you have the goals in place. And here's a bunch of resources. As I was going through, I will make sure they're all hyperlinked so that you can go directly to them. But we've done so many resources. I'm hoping this will organize it for you. And at the very bottom, I will have a link if you need a one-on-one time for myself, just to help you get started or review your plan, as well as to support you if you need it. But there is so many to do it yourself. We have so many resources available. So that's it. You need to reach out to our team. All my contact information is there. Emily is our creative director. Join our Facebook group. Ask people questions along the way. They're all there to help you as well, people in our group. And then follow Acorn Studio Marketing. So that's it. Get started on goal settings, building awareness and consideration.